Seeing as we talk about AI a lot nowadays, I've had this idea to ask Chat GPT some questions about current topics in mixed martial arts. And I'm really excited to learn what Chat GPT is going to respond with. So let's take it away. We'll keep it simple to begin. Who is the best pound for pound fighter in the world right now? I'm intrigued about this one, but I think there's a bit of an obvious choice, particularly as Ilya Taporia recently lost. Enter. Let's see. Based on current form, yes. Islam Makhachev, best pound for pound fighter in the world right now. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, to be fair, I think ChatGPT is just basically referred to the UFC on their website in their official rankings as opposed to give its own opinion. But this is going to actually get ChatGPT to think a bit more. Who is the likeliest to defeat him? Let's have a look at this one. Most likely to beat Makhachev. So, Topuria first, most likely to beat Makhachev. Armin Sarukian also given a fair shout. Obviously, that was supposed to happen a second time in early 2025, but it didn't. Shavkat, I think, is a fair point. We've almost forgot how good Shavkat is because he's been inactive. And Ian Machado Gary, we'll find out if there's any truth in that when they fight in a couple months. But Ilya Taporia is ranked as the most likely to beat Makhachev, which is interesting given his last fight against Gaethje at Freedom 250. Okay, moving on from Makhachev and the pound for pound debate. Who is the most overrated right now? This will be very fascinating. Let's see. Oh, it's subjective, but Ian Machado Gary. Okay, so that probably explains why Gary wasn't very high on the suggested fighters to beat Makhachev. Excellent fighter, but some fans already talk about him as a future champion or dominant champion. Not beaten the very elite consistently yet. That might be harsh, to be honest. I mean, he's beat Prates. He's beat he beat someone else recently. However, I forgot. Bilal Muhammad, a former champion. I do think with Gary, he's not knocked anybody out in a long time. He's not knocked out any kind of serious competitor, whereas a few of the other welterweights in what is a stacked division have got KOs against good competition. Like Michael Morales has knocked out Sean Brady. Carlos Prates has knocked out Leon Edwards. Whereas Gary's not knocked out any of his competitors, even though he's got wins over a couple decent names. So yeah, Paddy Pimlet suggested there, which I think is fair. I mean, I like Paddy, he's a great character. But in terms of him being one of the elite lightweights fighting for the title, I think that was fortunate earlier this year. I mean, it was for the interim title, but I think it's, it's fair to say Paddy wasn't really the most deserving to be in that interim title fight earlier this year against Justin Gaethje. Sean Strickland, okay, I understand why they're saying that. Fortunate to get that title shot against Chimaev. Bo Nickel, I wouldn't say Bo Nickel's overrated. I think he's still up and coming. No one's necessarily talking about him as being a champion, at least from what I've seen. Maybe some of you have seen different opinions. Okay, who's the most underrated? Let's have a look. Okay, Movsar Evloev. Yep, undefeated, elite wrestling, excellent cardio. Yeah, that's a fair point. I think Evloev is somewhat underrated because he probably should have got a title shot already against Alexander Volkanovski in the featherweight division. You would hope that's got to be the fight the UFC makes next for that title. They've also put other underrated fighters. Joaquin Buckley, I don't know if he's underrated. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's underrated, Joaquin Buckley. I think he's balanced, right? He's a top 10 welterweight, but I don't think him being in the kind of lower parts of those top 10 rankings is underrating him because the division is so stacked. Kyle Baralho, okay, that's an interesting pick. Brandon Allen, I can understand why. Probably doesn't get much of a look in the middleweight division, even though he's on a good run and ranked highly because he's not the flashiest. Azamat Moikanov, yeah, I suppose, again, not the most exciting fighter. Probably we overlook how good he is because his fights don't always please on the eye. Okay, what's the biggest fight the UFC could make right now? Let's see. Biggest fight they can make right now. Okay, Makhachev versus Topuria. All right, fair enough. I don't know why I wasn't expecting them to say that. Okay, yeah, arguably the best 2 pound for pound fighters in the world. I mean, this fight could have been really appealing had Topuria not lost at Freedom 250. Champion versus champion, but it wouldn't be that now. Chat GPT may be running with a slight delay. Yeah, elite grappling versus elite boxing, fair enough. Global appeal. Other fights. Yeah, Aspinall versus Jones. I mean, that would be huge. Pereira versus Aspinall. Chimaev versus Pereira. Okay. So, yeah, I think those are some interesting fights. There's got to be some others. Any others? Tom Aspinall versus Ngannou. I mean, that's unrealistic, but okay, fair enough. Topuria versus Pimlet. All right. Chimaev versus DDP. I don't know if that's really a massive fight. Like, we've already seen that happen. Chimaev beat DDP very comprehensively. I don't think that's a fight people are really like desperate to see again. Pereira versus John Jones. Yeah, I mean, look, that for me is, a fight that would definitely gain a lot of interest. Because you've got the GOAT in John Jones and you've got Alex Pereira, who, even though he just lost that Freedom 250 against Cyril Gane, still has knockout power. Will probably go in as an underdog, but I think you can never rule out Pereira. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili 3. Yeah, I think that could be interesting. I wouldn't say it's the biggest fight they can make right now, but it would definitely be a headliner for a pay-per-view if there was a championship on the line, because it's one apiece. Oh, no, it's not. Hang on, no. It's one apiece between O'Malley and Yarn. O'Malley versus Merab 3. Okay, I don't think that's a fight anyone wants to see again, to be honest. I think Merab's won that battle. I mean, if O'Malley earns a title shot, which you could argue he has, and that fight just, naturally falls into play, fair enough, but I wouldn't say it's a massive fight. I guess because it's O'Malley, it's marketable, but I think O'Malley versus Yarn is a bigger fight at the moment, I would say, because there's a championship on the line and it's one apiece. And that would be, a third series, which, would settle the score, whereas I don't think there's anything to settle the score with O'Malley and Merab. Okay, who is the biggest talent outside the UFC right now? Let's have a look at this one. My pick is Shamil Muziev. Shamil is with the UFC, isn't he? Am I missing something? No. Shamil Muziev, of course. PFL. Yeah, we spoke about him fairly recently. I'm getting confused. I must confess, I should have actually flagged this at the start of the video. I am recording this with very limited sleep. Oh god. Shamil Muziev is fighting for the PFL championship at the welterweight division. It's currently vacant. He's taken on Fajin. That will be interesting. They put some other fighters here. A couple others from Nurmagomedov, Usman Nurmagomedov from the PFL, fair enough. Patchy Mix, I mean, he's been in the UFC, lost both his fights. Khamzat Chimaev? What? I think Chat GPT's having a bit of a rough end. Maybe we've overworked Chat GPT with these questions. To be fair, I'm overworked because Shamil Muziev is a very notable name. And for whatever reason, I was completely confused when he was provided as the biggest talent outside of the UFC. Definitely check him out in the PFL. That's been fun. I'm going to do more of these. I'll pause for now because I think these questions have given a lot of food for thought. But let me know what your thoughts are with these responses from ChatGPT on current mixed martial arts topics.